This is a story from Exodus 13 and 14, a story of what happened when the people of God left Egypt after being slaves for hundreds of years.
We were so happy to be out of slavery, but not entirely sure what to do either, and we didn't know where we were going. God just said He'd take us to a wonderful place.
Now God knew that the people were still a bit tentative. There was a shorter way through the land of the Philistines, but God knew that if they faced war, the people would probably want to return to Egypt. So God led them out the longer way and brought them toward the Red Sea.
We were a bit concerned in the beginning. How would we know where to go? But God had a plan. God sent a pillar of cloud for us to follow in the daytime, and a pillar of fire for light by night. As long as we followed those, we were fine, and God made sure the pillars were always in front of us.
God still had one more necessary thing to do. In order to completely break the ties to Egypt, God had to prove His power and show Pharaoh that the people were never coming back. So the people stayed by the Red Sea for a while. Pharaoh started to suspect that the people were lost, and he decided to chase them and bring them back. God knew the showdown would bring glory to Him.
That day, when we saw the Egyptians, led by Pharaoh, coming after us, was horrible. Pharaoh was in his chariot, all of his army with him. It was hundreds of chariots, thousands of officers, horsemen, and troops. We were so upset, just panicking. We went to Moses, saying how ridiculous it was that Moses brought us out here in the desert to die. It would have been better for us to be slaves in Egypt than to die here by the sword.
Moses stood firm with God and told the people not to be afraid. Panicking would get them nothing, but trusting in God would open all kinds of doors. Moses told the people to trust God and watch how God would fight for them. In an amazing show of God's power and glory, God told Moses to hold out his staff, and the waters of the Red Sea stood still and parted so that the people could escape to the other side, but Pharaoh and his army were cut off. Then everyone knew that God's power would triumph always, and that these were God's people.